To freshen up the throat. Wouldn't you say, AIFD proud? All right, you guys ready for the seasons? Let's go. As the music sets the tone, we can only imagine when spring comes, because the earth is sitting still and it's waiting for beautiful nature to break through its surface. Here, my inspiration with earth was building a structure with the mandolino, kind of symbolizing that surface it's laying still, that we're kind of just waiting for it to really change. With the mandolino, we built this structure using zip ties, so that way we could kind of bind it and bound it so it would stay in place. And then we also did some weaving through it to create tension, so we didn't have to use zip ties in every point in which the Mendolino meets each other. The reason we kind of did a sheltering effect with this here is because we did want to create that effect of flowers joining us and coming to surface. So this representing kind of underneath the root system. Slowly we start to see beautiful color, and as we all know, one of our very first colors we see is kind of a periwinkle blue that'll pop through in everyone's yard if you have some. And then we just use just some other elements to kind of create that texture and using the form of the flowers to kind of resemble buds without having to use full stems of a lot of different product. Here, Smither Oasis, one of my great sponsors, gave us these beautiful product, black foam. So I use that as a mechanic in here as far as leaving it exposed. It does help create time saving, mechanic that we can all use. So I did leave it exposed. So when you get up close, it's something you don't have to cover. You don't have to use every bit of its surface. We can let a mechanic speak for itself, and because it's beautiful, great product to work with. So that's the best thing with using the black foam in this piece. So this is Spring Arising. We cannot go into spring without remembering it's the beautiful sun, the beautiful bright yellow, which starts to allow all this to break through Earth's surface. So this piece represents kind of spring at its glory. We have our beautiful sun that's sitting on top of this arrangement, creating a very cascading effect as we go through with different flowers that we all think of as spring flowers. Now we can get flowers around the world any time of the year. But I wanted to pick flowers that we do see grow in our gardens botanically that remind us of spring. So using beautiful lilies. Again, this product here came from Jet Fresh. Beautiful product. I was so proud to be using it. It just made me happy to let my little fingers work with it. So we just used, clumps. We did strong groupings of flowers, which was important just to give it a bigger impact, which I thought was important in this piece. So, I thought I need to do a little bud vase. I gotta have a little bud vase. So here you go. This is the bud vase of spring. So it was just a very fun piece to make. I do gotta highlight Jet Fresh sent us these fabulous kale. They are dyed and they have a metallic sheen when you get up close. They were fun to work with. It added just that little bit of glisten in there as a little surprise when you dive in. And you're like, wow, that's really cool that it has that sheen. So thank you again, Jet Fresh, for sending that. Over here again, we're talking about color. So without color, our seasons kind of like fall flat. So again, using yellow as just a dynamic color, strong color, using vertical line to bring our eye from the top down into the arrangement. Doing kind of, again, opposing lines in the sense of the hollow on the outside is bent and flexed. And then on this side, we looped the grass, so creating a little bit of different texture and flow as we went through that. So just giving it two different elements there of design mechanics. So that's yellow, and it was just a very monochromatic, I had, again, beautiful product. This product came from Milano and Company, and so it was really nice to be able to use that and just keep it very monochromatic with the bright yellow. And then we did something fun, just something, that doesn't require a lot of product. So this was just something fun, again, symbolizing the growth of greens. We added the tulip because what is spring without tulips, right? So this, again, just a lot of tension. We did bind all the greenery up the structure. Our wood here was bound as well. Then we just tension set our tulips through there to just kind of create something fun, something simple. Not everything we do has to be a bud vase. We can use a couple of blooms of flowers because sometimes that's all we might have. And if you have a customer that loves artistic stuff and they know they're not looking for something to last a week, we can send something like this because they want that visual impact to create that emotion immediately when they receive it. So this is just my homage to something small, simple for spring. So my favorite part of the year is summer. So how about we go to summer? All right, so summer, we all know there's so much that happens in summertime. It's like, ready to party, we're ready to have barbecues, especially now. Now, we're slowly getting to remove the masks. We're slowly getting to be out again, enjoying the weather. But as you all know, we love to do it with flowers. So, what is summer without flowers? I like to think of summer, especially for a lot of my friends and stuff, it's a great time that we celebrate so many things that include diversity and inclusion. So I wanted to do an homage here, symbolizing the color of the rainbow. Just something that hits my heart. I'm very proud of that, and so it's a great, way to show my own pride. So I did this piece for summer. I ended up taking some bamboo, just a simple container that we had, to use. Took some bamboo, staggered it, creating just, a very static line through there. We ended up then using, again, wonderful mechanic, zip ties. So we ended up putting the zip ties around water tubes. And I didn't want to use plastic water tubes, so we ended up using a glass one. It just made it feel a little more rich, especially for clients. Like this is something we could do in a restaurant. Talk about easy transition for a month if you have a standing order. Again, it doesn't have to be this. You could do 2 of them in a lomi bowl, creating the same effect, that go on an end of a counter. And it doesn't have to be this color scheme, but it's something that we can continue to do for cheap and then change it out very quickly. So we went ahead and did not over-designed it. We just took single beautiful blooms that we had, added them through, again, staying very monochromatic to make our theme. Great thing, what I love about this piece is I wanted the visual impact and the focal point to be here. I didn't want it to go up and down because I think that would have been expected, that we covered the whole thing. We don't always have to cover the whole thing. So I wanted to leave this negative space here because that's free. That didn't cost me any product there. So I wanted to leave that open. So when you get real up close to this, it's really cool because we did use Oasis flat wire to anchor tubes so they come out 3-dimensional. Right now you can't see it, but the great thing with this piece is if you step from the side, it's like a whole nother story. So this is a piece that becomes 3-dimensional any way you go around it. And again, it celebrates diversity, inclusion, happiness, the sun. Who doesn't like that? So, one of my tributes for summer there. Wow, we're so glad to live in this country and to get to do what we want. We get to work where we want. We get to do all this great stuff. So, one of the best times to get family together, celebrate 4th of July. I think a lot of us think of summertime, besides going to the beach, things like that. 4th of July, it seems to be a big anchor for us as a holiday. Again, I didn't want to do a holiday program, but thinking about that, I was like, what is something we all look forward to in summertime? So to me, it was like 4th of July. So this piece here, again, Jet Fresh just like wowed me with these beautiful ginger. They sent these glads, everything that we wanted, they provided, and this piece wouldn't have happened without them, so I'm so happy, because the ginger, the hanging heliconia is just beautiful, the anthurium. So what we did is we ended up starting this piece building a collar, because I knew I was going to have a lot of insertions into the foam. So we built the collar with glads, and then went in and added the ginger to start hiding mechanics and to fill it in to make it look really full, and added up our taller flowers here. So this was my inspiration, was a firework. What do they look like? Do we ever get up close enough to them? We never get up close to them. So I thought, let's make something we can all get into, investigate, and dive into. Doing that, we ended up covering this, pillowing all the pincushion protea, and then we used the Crispidia coming out kind of as those sparks, those little like, zzz, you see go up into the sky? So that's kind of all this, as those go up into the sky, we have this explosion, and then we have the overall composition here that's just as beautiful. But then I was sitting there thinking, I was like, wow, what does it need? It's not done, right? I'm like, it's big enough, but it's not done. So I wanted to add just something to add a little movement to it. Fireworks don't just go up, they do come down. So we took some bouillon wire, added this. A little excitement, again, if it's something your customer really wants, it's something that we could change really quickly. So there we go. I think we could say it might be a little bit of a creative flair on there. But again, it made me so happy, and it's just, looking forward to next summer. Again, wanting to do something simple, because I don't want, anyone to think, oh God, he made big things, but can he do small designs? So I wanted to do this. Something simple. Again, we had our structure. I ended up piercing the sunflowers, slowly pushing them down because I didn't want the center of the flower to shatter on me. And then just did a little tension with my hollow leaves there, just to create something fun, bright. I think sunflowers always remind us of summertime. So again, just a little bit of summer there for you. So what's next? I guess we move into fall, right? So let's go to fall. So this piece here is entitled Dancing Fall. I don't know why I titled that, but I just felt like it was dancing, it was telling a story. Again, I'm putting my anthurium in. That's so beautiful from Jet Fresh again. I can't stop talking about them because they were gorgeous. Doing strong clumps here. So in this piece, again, dancing, I think it's because I started out with a very vertical line and I wanted it to come down. Slowly kind of like my thought process was like leaves, when they come tumbling down. So I wanted something that kind of like did that for me. Started out with our cattails, clumping again, doing all strong groupings just to make it really impactful with our kangaroo paw. Using these beautiful lilies, did strong groupings of those. And what I loved is it was kind of hard to visualize because at first they weren't open. So, I thought, wow, I hope they really do what they're supposed to, So they started opening and they just did such a beautiful thing naturally because it started creating more dimension. Again, I used the black foam so that way I didn't have to cover every bit of mechanic, every bit of the surface. So that kind of made it fun because if you get close, you will see the foam. But it just kind of adds that you can kind of see through that. Again, Knut Nielsen sent us these beautiful pods that I was so happy to get. I didn't want to have to spray paint and then go find myself down the road, spray painting in the middle of the night. So it was great that they sent those already done for us. The world's not perfect, as we all know. So I got here and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to have this beautiful container, whatever, So it didn't come in. So I was like, whatever, I don't need it. So I was walking the back hallway and I was like, oh, do you think they're going to miss that tray? So I ended up using a hotel tray to put it in, which was nice because it did create a little bit of a water, reservoir for us in there. Since we're making stuff a day ahead, we wanted it to look really fresh for y'all. So that was the great thing with this one, that we got to find a new way to be creative with something we didn't have in our hands physically, and then to turn it into something that now we do have, because now I do have a container, and it was perfect. Are you guys drinking lattes, pumpkin spice, in summer? Comes a little early, right? It seems every year. So I thought we can't do fall without a monochromatic orange piece, because this is my pumpkin latte over here. So again, I used a wreath from Smither Oasis. I wanted it to be black foam, but again, not perfect, and they sent me a beautiful wreath. So I thought, you know what? I wanted to include some artificial and some time-saving things, which I do in my store already. On the bottom of this, you'll be able to look. It is covered with a fall permanent botanical leaf that we just cut off, pan glued to cover all our mechanics underneath. So it's kind of fun, because if this was going to, let's say it was going to a funeral service and we wanted to hang it on an easel, the back's finished. And by doing that ahead of time, it saves me time in my store when we do cover our backs with the permanent botanicals. And a lot of times if you do silks, it's product, it doesn't go in the trash. I save all the greenery, all the clippings. So we ended up doing that, covering the back just to give it a nice finish for you guys all. But I wanted to create a lot of rhythm in this. Even though it still has some vertical lines, I wanted rhythm. So I ended up using a grapevine wreath and tore it apart. And so that kind of stretches through there, kind of giving that nice curvature. And then it kind of gave me an opportunity to let my calla lilies continue that rhythm and flow through the arrangement. So you see how they're cascading out, shooting, projecting forward to you. They're coming up around with the curly willow. So there's a lot of rhythm going through there. If you start at one point, it's gonna go around. Our roses were inserted thinking about if a ribbon was wrapped around it, how would they follow suit to create that pattern through there. So again, this one was just about trying to create a lot of movement through it. And I think if you sat down in a little car, you could go up and down, around, come out the other side, and it'd be a beautiful journey through there. So it was for me. So everybody, get your pumpkin latte, because it's that time of year, right? And again, we ended up doing just a little something simple. One of my great friends, Ken, helped me do this. When I was getting to the end, I'm like, oh goodness, what can we do? So we did this. And again, just something simple, you know, relying on the structure more than anything, creating a nice vertical line, just flexing the hollow leaves through there, using our permanent botanical to create something. These were just pierced onto, I think, 16 gauge wire, just wrapped around two stems, popped them on, put a little glue so they didn't come off. So again, just something simple. There were 2 broken rose heads, you know, because I used them all over there. I was like, well, give me those broken ones. So I thought I found a home for them because I didn't want to waste those. So that's just a little something, again, using less product but creating impact. This beauty here, thank you so much. This beauty here was just like, I don't know, it was luscious. It was like just wrapping you up in a cold, you know, blanket on a cold fall day when you're watching the leaves fall, thinking, God, fall can be so bright and vibrant in color, but there's so many other color palettes that we can use during the holidays. We don't have to jump to the expected of color. So I wanted to use just these soft tones. It just made me excited to use them. Again, we ended up taking the branches from Knut Nielsen. I had these 2 containers that have been sitting at my shop, and I use them for like Christmas, drop little lomies on top, and you know, they serve their purpose, but I've always wanted to do something different with them. So I thought, you know what, I started binding all the branches together, and I sent them here, so I thought, well, I better use them. And then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do something just to create a different line instead of, you know, we don't always have to be vertical with it. So I wanted to create something horizontal with a little bit of a curve. Again, the structure was all built by binding all my branches. And then we ended up using zip ties to create strong points for that, so that way we'd have area to put wet foam in there. Using some dried product that, again, I tinted to kind of bring that color down into our container, so it wasn't just like, why is it just on a copper stand? I wanted to bring a little bit of that metallic rose gold copper look. Again, Tillandsia is so expensive, you know, to find, to get. So again, I ended up using some permanent botanicals in this piece. When you get up close, you'll never know. They're so beautiful. And so those kind of came in there to create just a nice strong grouping in the middle there, putting our roses in clumps, adding berry. The Brasilia berry was just so luscious and beautiful, and I love just that smoky white color it has. And so I wanted to bring that into it. And then we had this beautiful from Fern Trust. They sent us just everything we needed, wanted. It was beautiful. So I ended up using the white tinted pulmosa to just give us a nice airy lightness that can come out of our arrangement, so it didn't look so heavy towards the ends. Yeah, it was just something very beautiful, and the snowberry just kind of added a little bit to come out. Again, being that it was compact, I wanted to be able to have that snowberry to kind of bring our eyes up out of the arrangement. Yeah, so this one was just, again, it was all for me about the color palette with this one. I just loved it. Again, it was just like cuddling up on my couch with the blanket and just not having to go with the expected. You know, what can we do that is still striking, still beautiful, fits the season. One thing I was worried about was, you know, we all love to use our favorite, right? Dusty Miller, our favorite and worst enemy. But when I thought, oh, my program's using permanent botanicals. So I thought, you can't tell the difference. You know, and so we started putting it in there, and I was like, wait, I'm gonna put botanicals. So I did use some in here just to show you guys that you can't tell that I used both, still to mirror each other as far as product is concerned. So, you know, I have the Dusty Miller here, and then I ended up putting, you know, the lamb's ear, that, because I couldn't find Dusty Miller and artificial. but using the lamb's ear. And I think it worked, you can't tell, and I didn't have to worry about coming in today and thinking, oh God, I gotta take that out. So, saved me some time, and I think it turned out good. All right, so you guys ready for a little Christmas? So Christmas, funny thing, I was thinking of Christmas, I was like, you know, I started like thinking, they're gonna think I have like 20 programs in one, because I was like, I wanted to talk about color, because color is just so visually impactful to all of us. So I was thinking, okay, I got color down, so I'll include that because seasons are really reflective of color. And since I started thinking of color, you know, as explained kind of with the yellow creating that sun effect, you know, for Mother Nature to do its thing outside and bring us beautiful product, I thought, color, Christmas, color. Why do we have the colors that we use for Christmas? And I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but if you like colored lights on around your house or on your trees, I'm not a fan. So I thought, have you guys ever thought why a strand of lights is blue, green, red, yellow, clear? Have you ever thought about it? Like, it's kind of odd. Yeah, they're primary colors. Gives us lots of options. We're designers. We're going to make it work. I don't have to like something to do it or to sell it or have it. Visually, I don't want to see it on my house or my tree, but our customers, that's what we're there for. We're there to provide for them. So I thought, well, since I thought about color here, color there, I thought, well, how do I make color work for me without thinking, oh, let's just do red and gold? So I wanted to dive in and find out. And those string lights that bother me during Christmas, I thought, why are they made that way? So I did not know this, so a little education on Christmas light colors, why those lights were strung that way. So the blue always represents the winter, the frost, the cold. So that's why blue is put on Christmas lights to resemble that. And we all know Christmas pine, evergreens. It's one of our, survives during those rough, cold seasons. I'm from Colorado, so our yard looks good in the middle of the winter because we got these beautiful pine trees. So that's exciting for us that you have that visually in our yard through the winter. And then I thought, okay, so what's the other color I don't like on that strand? Individually, I love red, but red, they ended up putting it on there because red was a decoration. They used to bring all the berries that they'd harvest in fall, apples, things like that. So it started to become a decorative element. So as we know as designers, we use those in a lot of fall stuff, and into Christmas, we'll use vegetables, we'll use pomegranates in, you know, our Christmas arrangements. So I thought, well, that's interesting. So that makes sense, right? You know, if they have red, blue. And I thought, well, why'd they put yellow on there? Like, it's kind of weird that, you know, 'cause it's never like real yellow. But I thought, so I dive into that one. I'm like, so why'd the yellow come out? So yellow was always a representation of wealth. And when Christmas, people start celebrating the holiday season in the winter months, they thought, what's a way we can illuminate? Well, those that came from royalty or lived in beautiful palaces, they had gold. So they had, and we all know you go into a room with gold, it illuminates the room, creates a focal point. So they used that. But you know, people who weren't as fortunate, they didn't have much. So they would get things that were gold or represented gold, and it would create lavish looks to their homes. And they, again, light it with candlelight, it would illuminate. So, you know, if you look at old Christmas trees, illumination was always set on a lot of gold structures when they put candles in the Christmas trees, and that created a brighter effect for them. So, after I did this research, I thought, you know what, maybe I'll be a little more comfortable using those Christmas strands now that I know why the colors are there. But so it was just interesting to me because, again, color inspired me for my program because, you know, we can't have seasons without things. Color changes with our seasons. So it was a very big part of my seasons for us. So with that, we kind of took that strand. We're not going to use them all together, but I ended up taking elements from that. And we ended up doing this beautiful centerpiece back here. Again, it's just a little mantelpiece that, can go on anyone's mantle, right? So with this piece here, I wanted to elevate it a little bit. Again, it can sit flat if you wanted to. I wanted to elevate it just for you guys to get to see, the draping of the greens, to really showcase the beautiful product that Fern Trust sent us with all these different pines that they have here. It's a little different because in Florida, there's different pines. A lot of people don't realize when you're traveling, doing different things. Colorado, we're very big with noble, cedars, so Fern Trust, again, sent us just some beautiful other pines. There's one, I swear, it like shoots little needles at you. I'm like, ow, what keeps shooting at me? Like a cactus, it shoots little. So it's fun to work with. But this piece I wanted to really feature because Christmas, we use a lot of permanent botanical product for Christmas. So that way we could create a whole month worth of celebration in our house. Whatever you celebrate during the winter months, we all do some form of decoration. So I wanted to do something that did that. So I had these beautiful honey pine cones, and at my shop they're like, what in the world do you do with these pine cones? And I was like, what pine cones are they talking about, right? So they've been in this box in the back room. I was like, those pine cones. I was like, I haven't seen them in years. So I thought, I'm taking them to Florida. So believe it or not, a whole carry-on full of pine cones. Imagine what TSA thought. They're like, but anyway, my pine cones made it beautifully. So I wanted to do this piece just to show you that from far away, we can't tell that this is mixed greenery. The base was built with garlands around it. Again, just on a simple 2x4. So something, that we can use over and over. So it was almost complete with just permanent botanical, but I wanted to use some of the beautiful product Fern Trust sent me for the winter months. So they sent me all this beautiful natural pine that we put in there. Again, it started adding new beautiful textures to just garland. I ended up doing strong groupings of other, like the cedar here is permanent botanical, so I ended up using those as well there, just to give it a nice focal point. Our roses, I wanted to do roses, and I wanted them to serve a purpose, so I ended up putting the little gold swirls on top, because in them, I wanted to use something fresh, something beautiful, so we could smell it and enjoy it. So to me, they were just kind of like an ornament that was put on top. So the roses in their round structure, creating that hook using the beautiful wire that Oasis sent us, giving it with a little curl just to kind of add that little creative flair to it with, not everyone would expect it there. It doesn't need it, right? It looks fine without it, but it sure adds more when we can add those little elements to help elevate our designs. Again, using the beautiful red color that we get to use during the winter months to create just a rich look. Beautiful ribbon that we had here. Just tucking some ornaments in there. So, not too much product in there, right? But it's beautiful. So that was just my traditional winter centerpiece for y'all. So this one, I thought, oh my God, there's one more light on that color strand, and it's clear, so I'm like, clear. Well, that's easy. So how do we make snow interesting, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to bring some of those elements into this piece. And I was so lucky because, I brought in this special lighting just to illuminate the snowflakes for y'all. So it worked perfect. Thanks to Sandy, she's like, it's got to go there because look at the light hitting that. So didn't she do a great job doing that for me? So when you get in here, it's got all kinds of cool things. I ended up with just a square container. Again, if they would have opened my luggage, they're like, holy crap, I'm like, where is this guy going? So I wanted to use this just because I like the tin, and I think it reminds me, I don't know, I like that rustic look. Kind of creates that nice homey feeling of the winter to do a little bit of a rustic look to it. So I took that container. Again, I lined it with black foam. And I did that because I wanted to be able to set my container on top, which is anchored, and I wanted to do wood because with the tillandsia, I thought I want to keep it very earthy feeling, very natural feeling. So I ended up covering, just to show you, we're gonna let it snow. So my black foam is covered in artificial snow, just to give it nice interest down below. When you get up close, you'll be able to see it illuminate, lusters beautifully. Putting the tillandsia in there, again, just building kind of a little armature there that held mine. I liked this because I wanted to do something with opposing lines. Opposing lines is always so hard to do because sometimes you're like, well, why does it look off, or why is the balance not quite right? So I wanted to do opposing lines in here, doing something really strong with the lilies in the middle, creating that very static straight line, and then having this curved line come and kind of come right next to it and cut into that other line. So just to give me a nice visual effect, using that element there to do that. And again, just down inside, I used the snow. I wanted to add just some little elements. So there's pearls. There's no, they're just in there, just kind of laying, just to add some nice decorative element inside when you can get close. Again, we used the artificial permanent botanical product to help in the back, just to cover some mechanics. But again, this is something that you could do with the tillandsia and have out all through the holiday. If you're worried about your foam drying out and keep repurposing it by re-wetting it, you could always put the blooms in tubes and push them down into the foam and keep freshening it up for you at home if you wanted to do that. If you have company come over, like, oh, let's go get some fresh blooms and tuck them into that piece. And it would be, something cool when you walk into your home to have there. So, yeah, that was just something I wanted to do. Again, playing with two lines, I was challenging myself. Like, how can I do it? How can I get it done? And I think I got it done, right? So again, I wanted to play with these structures to show we don't gotta have a float sitting on our mantle. So this was my inspiration for Christmas. Again, using some beautiful permanent botanicals. Glitter, right? You gotta have glitter. There's not enough glitter. Goodness, I'm getting hot. Y'all don't mind, right, if I take my jacket off? So this was just another way just to use these structures that I built, and just to, again, we just, like the others, use bind wire to bind, different elements to it. Plain, again, to break the line. There we use the cow lilies. Again, those are just tension set in there, just so something that we could take out, put back. And it doesn't have to have fresh cuts all the time. So we could, something we could do, especially if you wanted to do the whole thing in permanent botanicals, and then just pop some fresh blooms when you needed to. So again, just something fun that I wanted to do there. Yeah. I'm gonna move these to the side if you guys don't mind. So I was thinking, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm like, it's Christmas, right? Don't you need like something to decorate for Christmas? Like a Christmas tree, it takes us 20 hours to make, and you can't add enough ribbon to it, you can't add enough balls to it, you can't. I'm like, oh, I can see the tree, I gotta cover that. So I was like, so what can we do? We had such a rough year. I mean, it has been rough, right, all? I'm gonna come around. So I thought, what can I take out of this ugly pandemic? What's something I can take? Well, I'll tell you what, I couldn't get gloves, and when I did, I had a lot of them. Got it? So guess what? I couldn't bring a Christmas tree, so I brought latex gloves. So my maid was probably like, what in the world is going on here? Why is there bolts of saran wrap? Why is there tons of latex gloves in a box in the corner? I wish I could have been in the room when this happened. But so I started out with a tomato cage, and an expected form to use, a structure. I couldn't travel with my Christmas tree because it wouldn't fit in the 5 luggages I brought with me. So I thought, we're gonna make the Christmas tree. And again, one day I was playing with them, and I was like at the shop, because when you take them off, we're like being silly at work. And I was like, oh, Christmas tree. Those ugly Christmas lights have blue on them. I'm like, so let's do something to bring winter blue into it. So kind of just, to do a fun piece. I ended up with the tomato cage. I saran wrapped it to fill it in, because I thought I have to attach these somehow. Of course, when I do it again for my customer, I would as we learn, we teach ourselves more and new things. So if I built it again, I would build it a little differently. Not structurally, this worked, just mechanically. The gloves were a little challenging. They were supposed to be powder-free, but we're in a pandemic, so you can't get what you want all the time. So I took what I could find, and we just ended up blowing them up, and let me tell you, that powder tastes so great. So I ended up getting straws. We had like straws where so it kind of took the zing from the powder away. So yeah, we just blew them up, and then I used zip ties, because trying to tie them was like, how do I get in? Then half the air would go by, and then they're laying on the floor. It didn't look good. So I thought, we got to keep it on the tree. So we ended up blowing them up using zip ties to tie them together. And then I started using U-glue to attach them to the plastic, which seemed to work well. And then, time started becoming a problem. So I thought, let's kind of make garland out of it with tape, clear tape. So we ended up using clear tape for the top to kind of help speed it up, so we could kind of tape them and wrap. So again, just something fun. I wanted to use the Mendolino that Smith Oasis sent us. Again, Jet Fresh gave me this beautiful delphinium, things like that. I was so fortunate, again, to have Milano. California does such a great job with eucalyptuses. So I was great, to get this eucalyptus. So this was like all the product from all my sponsors. So I thought, how fun, I get to include them all on my Christmas tree. So I'm going to send them a Christmas card. Before I leave, this is going to be my Christmas card. So we ended up using the tomato cage, again, binding the sticks towards the top. Ended up inserting those just to give me a nice Christmas top, because like I said, with Christmas tree, we don't want to see the tree, so we build these big tops. And so I wanted to do that. And then we ended up just layering the colors. I wanted to ombre with the blues, just to kind of bring that whole kind of winter feel to it with the colors. Again, I pierced the Mendolino through the plastic to help anchor it. And then we put these on little bridle cages, just little bridle handles that I wired, and we hung them in there to add a little flower element. I thought, we're not at a medical convention, so I thought I'd better put flowers in it. But it was fun. I wanted something fun to share with you guys, because we don't always have what we need to work with. And it's just the world we live in, and it's probably going to follow us for a while now. But we're artists. This is what we came here to do. This is what you guys are looking for, working so hard to do. So I wanted to be able to do that, to inspire someone to say, you know what, use what you got. Because what am I going to do with 10 boxes of gloves? Because, once I found them, I was like, order all the gloves. We need gloves. And now I got like a case of gloves sitting in the back, and it worked out perfect for this, because I had all the 3 colors in that box. And because, people who work with me got the small, I have the large with the blue with my hand. So, that's how we ended up with all the colors. So it worked out perfect. But we don't always have everything we want to work with. And so I thought, I couldn't ask anyone, can you please take a tree for me? So I just wanted to find a clever, fun way to bring you guys a Christmas tree, because I wanted it to feel like Christmas. Yeah, so I had extra hands to work with and help me. But again, I want to thank you guys for going through the seasons with me. They really do, it is something that came from my heart. It's what I enjoy during the seasons, and I wanted to share that with you guys, to share a little bit of myself, of what inspires me for the seasons. We all have different stories. We all come from different backgrounds. But guess what? We all have one thing in common. That's because we love what we do. We have passion for what we do. And that's why we're working so hard to be AIFD proud and to make IFD proud. And we look forward to getting to do this more and to see each other in Vegas in July. Yes. Again, without our beautiful sponsors, this is not possible, you guys. This is a lot of product. And without Milano, without JetFresh, without Oasis, without Kenneth Nielsen, we couldn't have done this. I would have a tomato cage covered in latex gloves. That's it. I'd have an empty tray with maybe some angel vine or something on there, you know. So we want to thank all our sponsors, because without them, we can't do this. So we need to support them. We need to, if you ever meet any of their salespeople that are out that may come to visit you, thank them for what they do for us. I know sometimes it's hard, we get frustrated, but they're doing the best they can to provide us with these beautiful hard goods, with this beautiful product, so that way we can be successful in our craft. So I want to thank you guys for joining me for the seasons.
Rumor has it that there's a new tattoo that's going viral. Let's head inside and see what we can find out. Tim Farrell. This is the last place I expect to find you.
Hey Kyle, I'm just here getting ready for the 2022 Telefloor program at the AIFD National Convention. So it's in Vegas in 2022 in July. Join us there. Come see the Telefloor design team. It is a program you don't want to miss. Oh man, can somebody get my pulse?
Deep in their roots, all flowers keep the light. Let's not grow with our roots in the ground. Join us in fabulous Vegas, AIFD, with strong roots. Keep the light.
See you in Vegas!
See you in Vegas!
Hello everybody, I am Max van der Sluis, floral designer from Holland. I'm very proud to be one of your presenters on the AIFD Symposium in 2022. I can't wait to meet you all on the symposium in Las Vegas.
Hello everybody, my name is Hanneke Frankema and I'm from Holland, and I'm super excited and super proud to announce that I will be one of the presenters in the Symposium of 2022 in Las Vegas. We are working on a great show to show you lots of new ideas, lots of new techniques, and of course with beautiful flowers. I hope to see you all then. Bye bye!